in the emergence and development of machine shops, which I'm locating roughly in the 1810s through the 1840s. The 1840s are significant because it was a period of incredibly rapid expansion in gross national product. Indeed, it may still be the case that the 40s was the decade of the largest average annual growth in GNP, largest rate of growth of annual growth in GNP in the history of the United States. But engineers get born out of shops. Early on, machine shops had a very simple organizational structure. There was an owner, and there were one or more employees, quite possibly. Both were artisans. Both were craftsmen. And so the distinction between them lay only in the fact that one owned the shop. Machine shops established in a system that's modeled significantly upon the British, established long-term relationships with customers. And so if you built machinery for some other sort of shop, you maintained that machinery. You even designed and developed the screws that might go in that machinery. And so you might have lots of different types of screw threads, for example, living in one city because you have different machine shops producing the machinery and having long-term relationships with specific customers. In this period of the teens to the 40s, we see some early developments of what became known as an emergent American style. From your point of view, and maybe high school or middle school or elementary school textbooks, when you think about early developments of American style, quite possibly the idea of interchangeable parts might come to mind. And with interchangeable parts, perhaps you associate a name. Eli Whitney? Indeed. Well, Eli Whitney was important because he established the objective of interchangeable parts, but in fact, Eli Whitney never realized the fact of interchangeable parts. Eli Whitney went to the Secretary of the Treasury and Secretary of State early on, Thomas Jefferson and maybe Madison, I forget the other name, and proposed a system of interchangeable parts for muskets. He was going to build muskets with a new system whereby we would produce the parts separately, and didn't matter. It would be possible for them to be totally interchangeable. Well, it turns out that in order to make his case for a government contract, what he had done is bring in a small set of muskets, develop a small set of muskets, and then file all the parts sufficiently so that he knew that every single part would fit with every single other part. And when he went in to enact this demonstration, he challenged his viewers to go ahead and put muskets together, and lo and behold, they did. But it wasn't because he had achieved some sort of manufacturing process of interchangeable parts. Rather, he had invested huge hours into filing to make sure this little experiment would work. That got him a contract, and later got him a renewal of a contract. In fact, in building muskets and producing muskets for the federal military, never achieved this system. Some of you who are from Virginia may have visited a place called Harper's Ferry, the Harper's Ferry Armory. There's the site where interchangeable parts was first achieved. Notice that from the point of view of the United States, why interchangeable parts is significant. We're starting to develop a system whereby products can be appropriated for mass use, and products can be produced with a minimum of expertise. The British system, in many respects, was transferred to the United States, but the United States didn't have a mechanism for producing knowledgeable, skilled craftsmen. In the United States, there was a lot of unskilled labor. And developing machinery that would produce interchangeable parts, seem to be a vehicle for both serving a mass audience, a mass set of customers with a minimum of skill from labor. This turns out to be an important source of a separation in the United States, ultimately, between management and labor. That separation emerges in the next phase that I'm simply calling manufacturing shops.